When I was younger, around high school, early college days, I really struggled with my self-image, and I wanted to be the person who was capable of talking to anybody, and I wanted to learn how to do that. And I was really interested, and I wanted to improve my social skills. And the way I went about doing this, or one of the ways, whenever I was really early on, I would look up conversation starters. I'd go online and look up how to talk to a stranger, what can I say to strangers, and I'd go up to people with like a written script, basically, what to say. And this, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but the problem with that is, once I would finish the script, basically what I would look up, I'd freeze up, and in my head I'd be like, what do I say next? What do I say next? And I'd like close myself off, and I'd be freaking out, my mind just spinning, thinking what to say. And the problem with that is that once you finish that, you're just lost, and you get stuck in your head, and you're not present, and you lose yourself after that. I just didn't know what to talk about, and I realized that was a problem, and I needed to actually go out and do it on my own and not go prepare with a conversation starter. So I got over that. I stopped trying to do that, and instead, when I'd go up to people, I'd like shake their hand, introduce myself, whatever, like the basic stuff. But the whole time I'd be talking, I found it was so much harder because I'd just be in my head wondering what to say. And obviously, I was just not present. I was just worried the whole time. I had all kinds of thoughts going through my head. And I realized just how anxious I was with going up to people. And these thoughts, it's hard to get over, and I understand. So, but the solution isn't just looking up a conversation starter and figuring out pre-made things to say, because you're just gonna get lost. And so whenever I figured out how anxious I was, I'd be fidgeting, and I'd be like, I just couldn't be present in the conversation. I never knew what to say, and I realized I just had a low sense of self-worth. And there's a lot of ways to overcome that, but that's what I came to the conclusion of, is my sense of self-worth was just bad, and I realized that. And something that will really help whenever it comes to conversation is that whenever you're doing this and you're about to go approach somebody, you want to go talk to them, they seem interesting, you want to make a friend or something. I guarantee you do this, because I do it. I still do it sometimes, but I have to talk myself and like understand this one point. But it's not all on you. You're not going to be the only person talking. You go into it thinking like, oh, I'm about to go talk to this person. What's going to happen if it dies down? What do I say next? But the thing is, you aren't the only person talking. They're going to be talking too. The pressure's not all on you. It's a give and take relationship whenever you're conversating with somebody. So you might be thinking, what do I say? But they're going to be talking, and whatever they say, you can build off of that. It's back and forth. You don't need to go there prepared with 20 questions. You know what I mean? Whatever they say, you can come off of that. But how do you get them to open up to get them involved? That's the real thing here. And if you first approach somebody, they're going to be closed off. They might not want to talk at first. So the way to do this is, it's going to sound easier than it actually is, but just be playful, lighthearted, and if you get them to laugh, you're in the clear. Make them laugh, make them smile, make them feel welcome, or at least get them into you a little bit, get them somewhat interested in you, because once you do that, they're going to be opened up, and they're going to be wanting to contribute to the conversation. They're going to want to keep it going. So it's not going to all be on you. You'll have that back and forth flow. So back to what I said about the self-worth, you need to believe that if you go up to somebody and say hi, you're going to get a positive response. Because if you think it's going to be negative, again, that's a self-worth issue. If you think you're going to go say hey to somebody and the outcome's going to be negative, you think you're not worthy. If you don't think you can talk to somebody with basic level conversation skills, your inner confidence is messed up, and that's something you need to work on. And you need to work on your confidence before you work on your ability to talk to somebody, because it's a much bigger issue to be confident than being able to talk to somebody. Because you could be terrible at talking, but if you're confident that you can go to somebody and have a good interaction, you might suck at talking, but that confidence is going to carry you through that, and it's also going to just get you in a position where you can have the conversation. So develop the mindset that everything you say has value simply because it's coming from you. And that sounds cocky as fuck. I get that, but it's the real deal. Whenever you develop that mindset that just because it's coming from you, you're the person saying it, it has value, you're not going to care what you say, how they react to it. It's just because you have it. Imagine somebody like Brad Pitt or Arnold Schwarzenegger. Their whole life, everything they say has value because it's them. If Arnold Schwarzenegger or Brad Pitt said the most boring thing, the whole crowd or the whole conversation circle, whoever they're talking to, is going to be interested simply because it's coming from them. Even if it's the most boring thing in the world, because it's coming from them and they believe it's interesting because they've experienced their whole life and they're charismatic, people are going to be interested even though it's a boring conversation. So develop that mindset that just because it's coming from you, it's important and it has value. You're Brad Pitt. Think about it that way. You're fucking Brad Pitt. So just don't question yourself and understand that every person is unique. the way you view things is going to be different than the way I view things, and we're going to have different perspectives on everything. The way you were raised, the experiences you've been through are 100% different than the experiences I've been through. We're both unique in our own way. We both see things differently. We both talk about things differently. We both talk in general differently. So you have something to bring to the conversation. I mean, you were talking, it'd be a whole new experience for me because I've never talked to somebody like you because you are unique. Your viewpoint and everything is different. So you can come and just be yourself and talk about whatever and believe it has value, and we'll have a good connection. We'll have a good conversation. And another thing is when you go into conversation, just like looking from the outside in whenever you want to approach somebody or talk to somebody new, or just talk to somebody you already know that you don't know well, you have this level, like a standard where you want it to be perfect. You want the perfect conversation. So you need to lower your bar. You don't want it to be like, you don't want to think it has to go perfectly because then you're never going to be able to live up to your expectations. So lower the bar of how it needs to go. It could be the most simple conversation. You could be talking about something so boring, but it can be interesting. It's the way you say it. You don't have to say anything crazy, just say something. The way you talk about things can make boring things interesting. It's like a developed skill that you have to learn it. So how do you never know things to say? That's kind of what the video's about. How do you never do this? You kind of just say what comes to mind. You gotta not be thinking about the future and getting yourself anxious. Being present in the moment is how you never run out of things to say. You need to just learn to let things come up. And the exercise you can do for this is to just shut off your brain and say out loud whatever comes to mind and do like a chain reaction. So like burger, food, bulk, weight, gym, bench press. You know what I'm saying? Pizza, Pizza Hut, Burger King, Crown, Royalty, Queen. You just say whatever comes to mind and keep a train of thought going. Whenever you do that, it gets you more. You can do that and be present, and you say whatever pops up. It's like an association type of thing. So whenever you're in conversation, whatever you are talking about, they'll say something and your brain associates it because you're being present, right? After doing that exercise, that's like being extreme if you want to do that exercise. Not if you really want to improve, doing that exercise will really help. But if you're in conversation and somebody says something, you have the association skill, you've been practicing or whatever. So whatever they say, you can build off of that because it pops into your mind. So you got to take this filter off. Whenever you say things, or whenever you're talking to somebody, you always have something to say. Whether you believe it or not, you always have something to say, but your brain has a filter on it. And some thoughts will pop up, but you'll filter it out like, oh no, I can't say that. This isn't the right time to say that. And you're filtering yourself. You're not being yourself. So you got to learn to turn that filter off. Maybe not completely off, because you might have some fucking weird shit you're about to say, but you got to lessen the filter and be willing to share more, show yourself more, and just say whatever comes to mind. Speak your mind. And in doing that, you'll literally never run out of things to say. When you stop trying so hard and thinking about what to say, things will just come to you. When you're going out and talking to people you're interested in or like, your brain shuts off and you start overthinking, you don't know what to say. But on the counter to that, people you already talk to or you're close with, you can talk without thinking. So you gotta learn to do that with people who you aren't interested in by just turning your brain off and speaking your mind. Most people need validation, and getting positive social experience will help with that. Getting the small wins that build up will improve your confidence socially, and you'll be able to shut your brain off easier and just really be in the experience and be present and talking. And it comes with time. It's not going to be something you can immediately pick up on, but the more you try and do it, the better it'll be. And don't be scared of failing, because with the failures comes more experience, and you can reflect on that and think how you can do it better. And with time, you'll be great at it. I've experienced it. I have friends who have experienced it, and if you're struggling with this, you can improve too. And some people will say they want to, get a nice car, make a lot of money, have a fit body, like all these things, give it like something for validation. And the reason that they say this and they use it as an excuse to not talk to people, they're like, oh, I'll start talking to people whenever I get the fit body. I'll start talking to more girls whenever I get a nice car and a lot of money. And it's just coping. It's because they want that validation. And like, nothing's wrong with chasing after those things. That's your goal, is chase after it. But don't use it as an excuse to not socialize. And practicing all these things, it'll really help just explode your social skills, and just it'll really help you learn how to never run out of things to say. It's very great practice. Doing these things will really help. And really, that's the whole video. If you're interested in that content, please subscribe. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me to go subscribe and comment, so I really appreciate that. Besides that, if you're interested in coaching, there's a link in the description. Feel free to click it. Quick little sales call. And if you got any goals to make this shit happen, I will see you in the next video.